little bit more about the business itself, like what exactly it is that you guys are doing and when you started out.
Yeah, we started in 2013. Like always, to track the history of the project is very difficult because it's like when we got together, everyone had a life history that brought us together in that moment. For example, my father, he always wanted to preserve a mountain, to do a conservation project in one mountain. So when my sister came to live here in this small town that we are living in the mountains, they decided they will give a land to us, to my sister and myself, so my father could kind of become true his dream of preserving a land. So it was in 2013 when my parents decided to give a land to my sister and myself. She was living here with her husband and they found the land. We bought the land, and it's very nice in terms of our relationship with indigenous communities, that because we were always so open to be close to nature, with the indigenous communities from here, they are the guardians of these lands, and we want to be the guardians of the lands we have. So we always knew they were the best guides for us to know how to live here. Since we have our ears and our hearts open to work with them, since the first days they wanted to come inside the land, they met one friend that was with one indigenous spiritual leader, and they asked him to come to the land. And then they came to the land and they did an opening ritual for us to be able to be in that land. So since the beginning, we planted the seed, the spiritual seed of this project with the indigenous communities from here. Then we just knew always that we wanted to grow our own food. And my sister, she's an ecologist. I am an anthropologist. My parents, both of them, are school teachers. So we are always very close to education and preserving nature. So we always knew we wanted to grow our own food and maybe do a little bit of environmental education. Then with the time, we saw that many people wanted to stay in the place, and that we also needed some constant income to keep the project going. Like that, we started to build the houses to host people in the reserve. And another key part of our project is the kitchen. We have a vegetarian conscious kitchen. So we run the kitchen mostly with local products, like the products we can grow in the farm. And also we try to have food that is like traditional Colombian food, but it's also a little bit shifted to vegetarianism. That is like the business kind of a thing. But we also do a very important community work. We are part of the environmental group of the town, because this town changed very fast the last 2 years, so it was not ready to have as many tourists as it has now. So we help to organize the garbage situation. We are promoting the use of compost toilets and things like that. And with the indigenous friends, because it's mostly for us also like a friendship that we develop with them.
You're speaking of the indigenous people. We're speaking now, and tell me if I'm pronouncing this right. We're speaking of the Arhuacos people. Is that right?
Yeah, in La Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta, which is where we are, which is the highest coast mountain by the sea in the world, and that has all the climates you can find from the sea to the snow peaks. We have 4 indigenous communities. These 4 indigenous communities, they think of themselves as the 4 legs of one table. That table is the heart of the world, and the heart of the world for them is La Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta. So the Arhuacos, they are one of the 4 communities. Each community has their own language, but all of them, all the languages, they come from the same linguistic family. They all have their own dressing codes, and the main goal in life for them, and all the philosophy, all the religion, everything goes around taking care of nature, taking care of La Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta, and keeping the harmony and the balance in La Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta. And for them to keep the balance is very, very difficult, because when you go with their view, you see that everything you do is just unbalancing everything. Like if you want to make a house, then you have to cut trees, then you have to move soil, then you are interrupting the balance. So all the time they are doing many rituals, and they are consulting with nature what they can do.
When you see the world and how it's moving, also, like, you see, the fact that we can talk to each other right now, like this, which is incredible, right? Like, I would have never known about you, probably even 30, 40 years ago. This would have been impossible for us to do. So we have this digitalized world, and this world that is globalized, and everybody is actually, you now with the corona, we feel it, right? Like when there's a virus that happens in China, everybody gets sick, right? So what do you think are the most important things that we can learn from the indigenous communities in order to conduct modern business? Like, we understand modern business, right? Like, and your business is modern. It is still, even though you're basing it on traditional values, etc., but you have a modern business model. So you have ecotourism, you have organic foods, everything that's very contemporary right now. So tell us, what are the things that we can learn from them that are compatible with, you think, how, like, we do business today with all the technology as well? What do you think are the main lessons?
We always knew that we wanted to take care of nature, and we knew that if we did a project was about that. But then with their presence, that is something you can never forget. So in terms of any business you want to do, even in the city or here, because sometimes we forget it, we are not that deeply connected with nature. You have to see whatever you do, what is the impact it is having to nature, towards nature, and how you are helping to keep the balance in nature. Because anything you ask to them, anything, they just say, like, what is nature thinking? What is nature feeling? What are you doing to nature? Because the main reason we are being like this is that we just got disconnected. So we just run a business. You can see all the positive things that you are doing, negative things that you are doing, the impact in the negative way or in the positive way.
Yes.
For them, is anything you do is to promote the taking care of nature, which is the main thing we already know we lost in the society.
What is the role of technology now in the view of the indigenous people, like in the way that you guys are doing this now? All the digital technology that's here, the communication technology.
One thing with technology is that technology can help in some ways to preserve a tradition. We always try to keep the balance in between living in a traditional way and using technology to have a real permacultural life. When we have people in the reserve, we do a little tour where we explain about the indigenous communities. And then at the end, we show a video of the mamos, the spiritual leaders of La Sierra, where they speak to people their word. And these videos are very, very special because these videos were made in the 90s by a team that was just indigenous people. And the mamos, the spiritual leaders that were always in the mountain, that didn't speak to anyone because they were like secret and they were kept safe. They called this group of indigenous youths and of indigenous people and told them, come here, we want to say something to the world, we need you to record this. And then they made a series of videos where they spoke to the world whatever they think. So it's very nice because we give a context to the people, and then at the end it is the indigenous themselves who speak to the people with English and French subtitles, so we can reach a wide audience of people with different backgrounds and languages, and that is thanks to technology. Another thing is that, for example, in the communities, they use a lot of the flashlight is very important, but they use these batteries that are really bad and that they are not rechargeable, and they don't know how to treat this garbage. So sometimes they just throw it, and the communities are like now having this problem of having so many batteries everywhere, and they pollute the soil. So in that case, for us, would be nice in terms of technology to bring, for example, solar energy, or rechargeable batteries, and so just to try to bring the technology to have a balance in between the two.